Most men over 60 don't realize this, but the way you've been touching yourself might be quietly damaging your health. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to open your eyes. Because what once felt normal, even helpful, can now slowly harm your prostate, drain your energy, and chip away at your vitality. It's not the act itself. It's how your aging body reacts to it, and the old routines you've been told to keep following. But hold on, before we go any further, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because if you care about your health and your future, this is the place where we talk about what no one else dares to say. And one more thing, I want to know you're here with me. Type 1 in the comments if this hits home. Type 0 if it doesn't. Either way, your voice matters more than you know. Now let's start with the biggest silent mistake I see men make every single day, and why forcing your body to perform like it did at 30 could be quietly destroying your strength. Mistake number 1 is one nearly every man makes without even realizing it. It's forcing an erection or rushing to climax when your body is clearly asking for something else. I've had countless men sit across from me, eyes heavy with frustration. They whisper things like, "Doctor, it used to work fine. Now I have to push harder. I don't feel anything unless I force it." Sound familiar? This is what I call the silent spiral. Because after 60, your body begins to shift in ways that are subtle but powerful. Blood flow decreases, nerve sensitivity changes, and hormone levels that once surged like a river now move more like a quiet stream. But instead of adapting to this new rhythm, many men try to fight it. They hold on tight, literally, using the same grip, the same urgency, the same mechanical motion they used in their 30s or 40s. Only now it doesn't feel the same. And when the sensation is weaker, they push harder physically and emotionally. But here's the problem. Your body isn't a machine. And forcing climax when your body isn't ready can cause damage you won't even notice until it's too late. We're talking about tiny micro tears in penile tissue, irritation of the urethra, and excessive strain on your pelvic floor muscles. Even worse, it places intense pressure on your prostate, which becomes more fragile with age. I've seen men develop chronic discomfort in the groin, ongoing sensitivity issues, or even low-level inflammation that they couldn't trace back to anything until we talked about their solo habits. The worst part, this damage doesn't scream, it whispers. It builds slowly, silently, quietly, chipping away at your confidence, your sensation, your ability to feel real pleasure. One day, you simply don't respond the way you used to. You feel less aroused, less connected, less like yourself. So, you push even harder, and the cycle continues until your body can't keep up. That's when you start to see the deeper consequences. Erectile dysfunction, prostate swelling, even urinary problems that disturb your sleep and your sense of independence. But hear me when I say this, it's not your fault. You were never taught how to touch yourself differently as you age. No one gave you a guidebook for how to honor the changes happening inside your body. That ends now. Because what your body needs at this stage isn't more force, it's more attention. Start by slowing down. Use softer, more deliberate motions. Focus on sensation, not just release. Let arousal rise gradually without pressure. And most importantly, stop treating your body like it's broken when it's really just evolving. This isn't about giving up your sexuality. It's about discovering a new chapter in it. One where you listen more than you push. Where you tune in rather than tune out. Where you treat yourself with patience and care, instead of frustration and force. And when you do that, when you meet your body where it is instead of where it used to be, everything begins to shift. You rediscover confidence. You feel more in control. You stop dreading intimacy and start looking forward to it again. That is the gift of awareness. That is the power of doing things differently. And now that you understand the first mistake, it's time to talk about the second. One that doesn't just affect your body, but rewires your brain. Mistake number 2 is one that doesn't just affect your body, it rewires your brain. And it's far more common than you think. It's using pornography as your only source of stimulation. I'll never forget the look on his face. He was 67, a smart, thoughtful man who came into my office trying to figure out why his desire for real intimacy had vanished. When I asked him about his solo habits, he paused, then said quietly, "Doctor, I don't feel anything anymore, unless I'm watching something online. And even then, it's not like it used to be." That kind of quiet confession, I've heard it too many times to count. And almost every time, it leads us back to the same hidden habit, relying on porn as your only sexual outlet after 60. Here's the thing most men don't realize. Your brain at this age doesn't respond to stimulation the same way it did when you were younger, especially not to the constant flood of high-speed, high-intensity digital content. Pornography hits your brain like a drug. It overstimulates your reward system, flooding it with dopamine. And while that rush might feel good in the moment, over time it comes at a cost. Your nervous system starts to adapt. It builds a tolerance. What once brought you pleasure now feels dull. What used to excite you now barely gets a response. So you chase more extreme videos, longer sessions, higher intensity. And all the while, your brain slowly loses its ability to respond to real-world intimacy. You may not even notice it happening, at least not at first, but then one day your partner reaches for you, and you feel nothing. No spark, no connection, no desire. It's not because you're broken, it's because your brain has been rewired. This isn't about guilt. It's not a moral issue. It's biology. The overuse of porn, especially in your later years, actually reshapes your brain's reward system. It weakens your natural responses. It makes physical touch feel less meaningful. And it robs you of that deep emotional connection that real intimacy brings. You might feel more isolated, more disconnected, even sad without knowing why. I've had men tear up in my office telling me I just want to feel something again. I miss the way things used to be, and I tell them the same thing I'll tell you now. It's not too late. Your brain is still capable of change, even after 60, but it takes time and intention. Start by cutting back on screen time. Replace it with memory, with imagination, with connection. You might use a book, a past experience, a slow breath and awareness of your own body. It won't feel the same at first. That's normal. But give it time, and something incredible starts to happen. Your senses begin to wake back up. You start to feel more during touch, more during closeness, more during life. You stop chasing a screen and start returning to yourself. This is about more than sexual pleasure. It's about emotional freedom. It's about reclaiming your ability to feel connected, to feel alive, to feel like yourself again. And the best part, you don't need a prescription. You don't need to give up your desires. You just need to give your brain a chance to heal. Now that we've talked about the mind, let's turn to something just as important, your energy. Because mistake number 3 might be the very reason you wake up tired, feel unmotivated, and can't figure out where your strength went. Mistake number 3 is one of the sneakiest because it doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in slowly. You feel a little more tired. You start losing interest in the things you used to love. Maybe your sleep feels off. Your mood dips. You can't quite put your finger on it. And then one day, it hits you. Is it possible? I'm doing it too often. That's exactly what one of my patients asked me. He was 71, in decent shape, but he was constantly tired. He felt drained, restless, and disconnected from the world around him. He thought it was just aging. But when we dug deeper, we discovered something else. He was masturbating almost every day, sometimes more than once. He thought it was helping him relax. He believed it was good for his health. But in truth, it was quietly draining him. Here's what many men don't realize. After 60, your body doesn't recover the way it used to. Your hormones take longer to bounce back. Your nervous system needs more time to reset. And your energy, it becomes a much more precious resource. Frequent ejaculation, especially when you're already tired, bored, or stressed, doesn't calm the body. It depletes it, and the effects aren't immediate. They add up. One day you're fine. A week later you start waking up groggy. A month in your motivation fades. And soon you're wondering why life feels a little flat. But the answer might be hiding in plain sight. It's not that you need to stop completely. Some level of sexual expression is healthy at any age. But you need to match it with your energy levels, not your old habits. Where you used to bounce back in hours, you may now need a day or two, maybe even longer. That's okay. That's normal. The key is to listen, not push. For many men, cutting back to once or twice a week makes a huge difference. They feel clearer, more grounded, more alive. Others explore stimulation that doesn't always lead to climax and find just as much fulfillment in the connection without the crash. Because the truth is, your body isn't asking you to stop being sexual. It's asking you to be more intentional. And when you shift from how often to how well, everything starts to change. You regain energy, your sleep improves, your mood lifts. And that feeling of being in control, it comes back stronger than ever. But this isn't just about energy. There's something even more vulnerable at stake. Something small, yet powerful. And how you treat it could shape your comfort, your bladder control, and your long-term health. I'm talking about your prostate. And that leads us to mistake number 4, most men never even consider. Mistake number 4 is one most men never even think about. It's ignoring your prostate health during self-pleasure. You might be thinking, what does my prostate have to do with this? The answer is everything. I had a patient once, 68, active and in relatively good shape. He came in with a subtle complaint, no sharp pain, no dramatic symptoms, just a lingering sense of pressure after climax, and a strange feeling that he was never fully relieved. At first, he didn't connect it to how he was pleasuring himself. He said, "I've always done it this way. It's never been a problem before." But that's exactly what made it so dangerous. Because the prostate is one of the most sensitive and essential parts of the male body. And after 60, it becomes more vulnerable than ever. It's a small gland, but its role is huge. It supports sexual function, regulates fluids, and affects urinary control. And yet, when men engage in solo activity, they often neglect it entirely. They use positions that apply pressure directly to the perineum, like slouching in a chair. They don't urinate afterward, which would help flush the urethra. And they overstimulate without realizing the stress they're putting on this fragile gland. Over time, this leads to inflammation, irritation, and in many cases, chronic discomfort that never quite goes away. You might not even notice it at first. But then the signs appear. A burning sensation when you pee, heaviness in the pelvic area, the need to get up 2 or 3 times a night to use the bathroom. All of it quietly connected to how you treat your prostate during self-pleasure. But because the symptoms are mild at first, most men blame other things: age, diet, stress. They never think to look at what's really happening behind closed doors. But here's the truth. You have more control than you think. Small changes can make a massive difference. Start by adjusting your position. Avoid sitting in a way that compresses the pelvic floor. Give your body room to move and your prostate room to breathe. Then always urinate after climax. It may seem minor, but it helps flush bacteria and reduce the risk of infection or inflammation. And be mindful of how much pressure you're using. Treat your body with care, not force. Your prostate doesn't need to be punished, it needs to be protected. Because what's at stake isn't just comfort, it's freedom. Freedom from bathroom urgency. Freedom from lingering aches. Freedom to live with confidence and ease. I've seen men in their 70s regain a sense of peace and strength simply by changing the way they treat this one part of their body. No medications, no surgeries, just awareness. Just a willingness to shift from habits that used to work to choices that truly support their health today. This isn't about giving something up. It's about giving your body what it truly needs now. You deserve comfort. You deserve control. And you deserve to feel good in your body, even in this new chapter of life. Now that we've gone through all 4 mistakes, it's time to bring it all together and talk about how to move forward with strength, clarity, and confidence. If you've made it this far, I want to say something to you directly, man to man. You're not broken, you're not behind, and you're certainly not alone. The shifts you're feeling in your body, the slower response, the dips in energy, the quiet discomfort, they're not failures. They're messages. Your body is speaking to you. And now, you finally know how to listen. You've learned the 4 most common mistakes older men make with self-pleasure. And more importantly, you've learned that each one can be changed gently, intentionally, and without shame. This is not the end of your vitality. This is a turning point. So take a moment now, not to judge yourself, but to thank your body. Then commit to one small change, because that one step could be the beginning of an entirely new chapter. Now, if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Click the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. I want to hear from you. Type 1 in the comments if this helped you see things differently. Type 0 if not. And if there's a topic you want us to explore, next, drop it below. Your voice matters here. And every share, every comment, every connection helps another man find his way back to strength, confidence, and clarity.